First things first, continued good news. Trump's stock continues to tank. It's a little bit of karma for him, although there's a serious bit of karma waiting for him out there, I hope. At least that's my personal desire in life. Uh, so he apparently they're starting to spread a lot of his people are spreading rumors about what the judge is doing to poor old Donald Trump. Supposedly he wasn't allowed to attend his son's graduation. Barron, that's the one he's talking about. High school graduation, college, whatever it was. Anyhow, knowing what I know about Donald Trump, I said there's no way in hell he was going to go anyhow. So, I don't think that's true. He cares as little as possible about his family. I've never seen him pictures of him spending time with his son at all. Like on a golf course or something like that. No. That's Mulaney's son, and that's where he spends his time with Mulaney. Milani? They say they pronounce it Milani. I don't know. Looks like Mulaney to me. I don't really care. But he's in his second day of trial right now. They're still selecting a jury. This looks like it's going to go the full term. They got some people in there that I haven't seen. They do a thing from what they call a pool reporters that are allowed inside there, and they showing the questioning of the jurors, and they seem to say that it's nobody seems to really want to be on the jury or anybody's been selected yet, and there's about 23, 24 people already been between the 2 days. I think it's around that. It could be a lot more. I don't know. They have 42 questions to ask these people. I don't know what the questions are yet. I don't know whether they're printed out there someplace or not. I doubt they are, because I don't think they would want the public to be able to get their hands on them and further influence the jury, which Trump tries to do. They said he was sleeping yesterday, nodding off. I think that's just his way of showing contempt for the whole process. He's not a fan of the justice system, because it's working against him. He only likes things that work for him. And we discussed this yesterday. He's the only guy in the world that he cares about. He doesn't care. That's why I'm saying it's no big deal that he couldn't go to see his son's graduation. He don't give a shit about his son, about his wife, about his family. No. This and Trump and he's complaining that he can't campaign. That might be the best thing that ever happened to him, because his biggest problem is his own mouth. The things that come out of it that are absurd at times. Yet, people believe him. They think the whole world's against him. Poor little Donnie. Donnie has brutalized people his whole life. There's a story going back to the sometime after 1978. There was a story about a woman in Atlantic City, an elderly woman who had lived her whole life in a row house down near where his casino is. And they wanted to build a parking area for buses or something there. And they wanted to use that property. And she wouldn't sell it to him. She didn't care how much it was. She wasn't going to sell it to him. So he went to, it was she lived there her whole life. She didn't want to move. She wasn't, I don't believe there was ever a story about she was asking some outrageous sum of money. She just didn't want to live. She just didn't want to move. So he goes and uses something called eminent domain. Now, how that got involved in a parking structure for Trump, I don't know. It's usually used for highway construction. They kick you off your property. They pay you a reasonable price, what they estimate the price was worth. I don't know how much you got. Somebody told me $9,000. I don't know whether that was true or not. I don't really remember, and I don't know where to look it up. But anyhow, he kicked her off her property. And she didn't have that long to live, as I remember the story. And that's just the scumbag that he is. He doesn't really care about anybody. I mean, there was probably something they could have done. I've seen them build around restaurants that are declared national landmarks and stuff like that. I've seen that happen, build over it, around it, and everything else. So I'm sure they could have done something with hers. And, as it turned out, it wasn't Trump's casino wasn't a great investment. I'm not sure how many years it was actually there. I went in the 70s, the 78, 70. No, it would have been in the 80s. I was down there at his casino, and it was never crowded. When I went, of course, I went during the week at night, but I never saw it crowded. Always could get a seat at a table, whereas the Taj Mahal, there would be nights, you couldn't get a seat every night you went. We go down on Saturday night, you couldn't get a seat at a table. You had to wait a little bit. I mean, eventually they open up because people lose and they get pissed off and they go home. But in the Trump's casino, it was, first of all, it wasn't easy to get to. It was a little out of the way. It was very, very strange. As gaudy as it was extremely depressing. So, it didn't, I don't think it laid, whatever the reason it folded. But like every other business he's ever owned, And I know some people lost some money there, New Jersey's notorious for having contractors lose money. They did it with the Garden State Parkway, they did it with everything. But getting back to what I think is going to happen with this man, he's built up such a backlog of bad karma. I mean, if you want to see some real problems, you're talking violence or whatnot, convict him, and then tell him he's got to go to jail. That's when the trouble will start. I think that's why nobody really is. They might be lying that they like the guy or something like that, just so they don't have to be on jury. 6 weeks doesn't seem like a lot, but if you're, it's like when I was in the National Guard. They have to give you 2 weeks off to go on training, but most people took their vacation because they couldn't go 2 weeks without pay. Especially, when I doing what I was doing at the time, was working at a gas station. I couldn't go without pay. So I took my vacation for 2 weeks, and that was it, Did that for 6 years. So people can't, take time out. I don't know what they get paid. They get some ridiculous $10 a day or $20 a day. Whatever it is, it wouldn't cover lunch, So it's not something everybody wants to do. It's usually older people, night workers or something like that, bartenders that work at night, people like that they get involved in that stuff. Older people, especially when you go to the grand jury, they look for retired people. They don't want young. My mom got on a grand jury, because a federal grand jury, because she said it was all retired people. There's no young people on it because they can't sit there for a month. It's just they don't understand. I don't think the legal system understands the stress that can put on a family or something like that. You always see it on TV. Oh, I lost my wife, my kids, my house, my job. That's why I went and I killed the judge, or some stupid thing like that. That happens. It can happen, and it does happen. Unfortunately, it's being on a jury is not a way to get rich or not even famous, really, because they usually don't post the names of the jurors even after the trial. So I could see why people don't. a 6-week trial, highly publicized. They're going to be known everywhere, and Trump supporters are a dangerous group of people. So yeah, these people are risking their safety if they if they stand up, and we're gonna the jury for him. I couldn't do it because first of all, I hate the guy. I mean, what am I gonna do? Say, yeah, well, I probably could. Once I see the evidence, I said, but I'm not real fond of the guy. But I would be no, no way. That son of a bitch is guilty. Trust me. You know, there's no. He didn't do it thing, something like that. He knew what he was doing. He says, yeah, well, it was my lawyer's idea. No, it's not. Nothing gets done unless he says it's okay. He's a very, he may not come up with the idea, but it's not getting done unless he agrees to it. It's done in his name. All right, well, listen, they're still out at it. They'll be at it for a while. If anything happens, the story, we'll come back and let you know and give my slant on the whole thing, in the meantime, have a good Tuesday morning. Still morning. Okay, we'll see you later.